have trading plan. Trading plan is really, really important. After we're done from this webinar, I expect everyone to create a trading plan. Take your time. There's no rush. There's no need to trade next week. Next week, instead of trading, you can just, watch some webinars because everyone's going to get, okay, that's going to come in the end. Next week, you can just watch stuff, watch how price moves, watch how things actually make sense. But most importantly, create a trading plan, right? And this is going to be the basis of your trading plan right here. First, you're going to think about what time are you going to trade, right? This is really important. What time suits your lifestyle? What time do you have in the day to trade? Do you work at 9 a.m. in the morning? Can you trade early mornings? When I used to work, I used to go to my office. I used to leave from my office at around 8:30 a.m. So I would trade from 5:30 to 8 a.m. 3.5 hours. No, actually 2.5 hours. I would do that. Then I would say that, okay, if I have that time to trade early morning, what session is that going to be? Is that going to be New York session, London session, Asian? So I have to understand that, okay, so I knew, okay, I'm going to have New York session to trade. So I'm going to write that down. So I'm going to write down the time. I'm going to write down what session I'm going to trade. And then I'm going to say, okay, is there going to be enough volume at the time that I'm going to trade? Like if you have time to trade between the New York afternoon, there might not be enough volume to trade at that time. Some people, they do work, and they have time to trade at the time when there's no volume. When there's no volume, then you might be looking at the higher time frames, the 4 hour, to see if you can maybe get like a higher time frame trade based on the candles or not. But the most important is you're understanding if there's going to be volume to trade at that time or not, right? And then you're going to see that, okay, if there's going to be any news coming at that time or not. I think my jaw muscles are making some abs right now from all the talking. So first off, there's going to be time to trade, right? Next is going to be my jaw's getting gains. Next is going to be what pairs are you going to trade? Like are the pairs which you're going to choose, are they in session? Are the pairs correlated? We talked about pair correlation in the very, very beginning, where we said that, okay, if you want to choose, let's say, GBP USD in the New York, you might find that the pound and the USD is going to the pound and the USD they might move they might consolidate, because like in the New York session, pound and USD is influenced by both pairs, right? With both currencies, sorry. And then you're going to see, okay, how is the spread of the pair that you're going to choose? Is the spread too big? Is the spread too low? So those things really matter as well. Next thing is going to be, have you watched the pair enough? Have you sat and really back tested it? Back tested means, have you live tested the pair or not? We did a webinar that I'm going to share that you guys will find in the drive. It's about live back testing and back testing. It's very important. So how's the spread? Have you watched pair enough? So when I started trading GPJPY, I watched GPJPY for about a month in New York session to see how it moves. Do I really understand the fundamentals behind it? We didn't really go over fundamentals a lot. That's left for another time, because I didn't want to overload a lot of people with a lot of information, right? So do you understand the fundamentals? Like if someone's trading the USD CAD, right? Or if someone's trading CAD JPY in New York, then you might want to know that, okay, what are the news around oil? Because oil moves CAD, or like if you're trading in the pound, you're knowing that, okay, what are news around Brexit? What are news around, with the coronavirus thing happening? What's Boris saying? What's the whole fundamentals around that pair, right? That's really important. So time to trade, what pair to trade. Next, you're going to have risk management. This is really important. What's your daily risk, right? What's your daily risk? Am I comfortable risking that? That's also really important. Dynamic risk or static risk. If you're new, starting right now, I think you're going to be mostly focused on static risk. How many trades will I take in a day? That's also very important. I recommend 1 or 2 trades. What's my monthly, weekly goal? Let's say if your weekly goal or your monthly goal is 20%, Now you're breaking it down into weekly goals. Weekly goal might be 5% per week, and now if you break it down to a daily goal might be 1% a week, so now you put that in perspective that, okay, now I have some money in the bank. I have money in the bank in my savings account, and the bank offers me 2% a year. Now 2% a year is dog shit, because I know that if I'm focusing on, let's say, 20% a month in trading, I can easily get 1% a day. If I'm getting 1% a day, that means I'm making 20% on my money a month. But if I focus on 20% a day, that's never going to happen. There's a very high chance I'm going to lose my money. So you have to really understand that. And the next thing is, what do you do when do you secure a runner? Like when do you cut losses short? And when do you leave a runner running? That's something you have to realize. Now, once we're done off this webinar, I'm going to upload it. It's going to be uploaded by tonight. I expect people to rewatch it, rewatch the risk management part. That's very, very, very important. You're going to really understand how to cut losses watching the risk management 3.0 part over and over again. Next, we have technical analysis, right? So we went over time to trade, what pair to trade, what risk to use, and then you have technical analysis, right? Technical analysis, what time frames are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on the 4-hour, daily, 30-minute, 1 hour, all those things. If someone's going to focus on the 5-minute or the 15-minute, it's going to be very disappointing. Is there a valid support resistance formed? When you're talking about technical analysis, do you have a valid zone formed? Is there enough range for the price to move? Like if you have a 10 pip range, there might not be enough trade. If there's a 20 pip range, you could make it work. Or if there's a 40, 50 pip range, that's perfect. Has the candle closed in your direction? Extremely important part here too. Does the stop loss make sense? Is the stop loss too big? Is the stop loss too small? Is the stop loss at the wick or below the wick? Those things are very important when you're talking about technical analysis. Next, you have trade management, right? How are you managing trade? Are you comfortable with your gain? Has trade moved in your favor? And are you comfortable with what you want to secure? I'm always comfortable in securing 10, 12, 15 pips, man. Since I started, I've been securing 10 pips since I started, June 2016. I'm guilty. People say, hey, they are the 10 pip army. Man, 10, 12, 15 pips has made me a lot of fucking money over the last 4 years. But the first year it was trial and error. I started learning. But the second year hit, things just start to change, because you start to understand that, okay, this is like you come in every day, you get what you can get, and then you just go back the next day. That's how it works. Are you comfortable with your gain? Like obviously if you're looking at the 4-hour time frame, or if you're, hey, is my audio okay? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so let's say if you're looking at the 4-hour and daily, obviously your pip gain is going to be more, but if you're looking at the 30-minute, 1 hour, then you'd be looking at 10 pips, 15 pips, 20 pips most of the time. So those things can work too. And once you're in profits, you're looking to see, is your stops at break even or not? Most times what happens is when people are in profit, they don't put stops at break even, and something happens and price comes and hits the stop loss. That's a very sad situation to be in. So you need to see that, okay, are your stops at break even? Are your positions protected or not? Should I close partials in a loss? When you're managing your trade, and when price is coming down into a drawdown, and sometimes when price comes in drawdown, it's going to hit your stop loss. That. But what are you doing to minimize that risk? Are you taking 50% off? Are you taking 75 off? What are you doing? What are you up to? It's going to hit your stop loss. What the fuck are you doing? Are you closing partials so that you don't take the good hit? Or are you saying that, hey, I'm going to secure 50% in a loss, and then I'm going to let the rest hit my stop loss? That way you've now minimized your loss. That's a very effective way to keep your losses short. Like a lot of times people talk about, oh yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? You know what you got to do? Just keep your losses short, man. Keep your losses small and keep your winners big, man. It's going to work. But no one tells you how to do that. How? How are you going to do that? We talked about this. We had 3 sections on risk management. We talked about that. So that's how you're going to keep your losses short. Are you in profits for the day? For the day, are you up? If you're in profits, just remember, they say that only 90% people fail. I say 95% people fail. If you're in profits, man, you're in the top 5%. There was a day in April I made $12. And I called it a day at $12. In May, there was a day I made $118, and I called it a day at $118 because I was up for the day. I was up, man. I was in blues because I knew if I would have taken another trade, I'd be in a loss. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be in the top 5%, whether it's by a $1, whether it's by 50 cents, whether it's by $10,000. I want to be in the top 5%. Do you have a runner at break even? Sometimes, you think price is going to go, but you're scared. You're scared to let price run, just leave a runner. If you're so scared, man, just leave a .01 run. If you're running a 10-cent lot, leave a .01 run. There's nothing wrong in that. You're building confidence. As you leave runners running, you're going to build confidence in letting runners run. And after like a couple of months down the road, when you have runners running and they keep on running, you're going to say, okay, man, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to leave my whole position running at break even because I've seen this run hard. And if this runs hard, I'm going to have a big payday. That's what happened to me this past week. This past week, I had a sell on GJ, and I had a 10 lot and it ran 50 pips. I had a big payday, and the last time I did that, I think was like a year and a half ago. Yeah, so, and then how do you journal your trades? Like, what are you doing when you journal your trades? What program are you using? What I personally use is, I'm going to write it down here. Come on, Zoom, work with me here. Trixie.trade. This is what I use to journal my trades, but most of the time I just keep um, before and after pictures of my journaling. I have a before trade picture and then I have an after trade picture. What that means is then I know what I was thinking and what actually happened. If it was a win, I'm like, perfect, it played out. Now I'm going to start to look for the same thing the next day as well. Someone mentioned Trello. Trello is another good thing here. You can Google Trello. I don't know what the website is, so Trello. Yeah, I think Paul and some other people use Trello, right? So at the same time, if you had a loss, if you had a losing trade, and if you had before and after pictures, what's going to happen is now you're going to look at the loss and you're going to say, okay, how could I have made this loss better? How could I have seen something how could I have seen something to take a better trade? We have a webinar in the database on gaps and losses as well, which I will highly encourage people to view. That will make you go over the fact how to analyze your losses.